Fluent Flow podcast. New videos every day. Let's learn English together.
Hello and welcome back to The Deep Dive. This is the place where we really get into fascinating topics. We take source material, it could be articles, research, or even, like today, a really unique script, and we pull out the key knowledge, the insights, those aha moments.
Yeah, the goal is to get you properly informed, quickly, thoroughly, but, without that feeling of being totally swamped by information.
Exactly. We want you to really get it.
And we're really glad you're with us. My job, as I see it, is to help us look beyond just, what's being presented. We try to understand the why. Why does this actually matter?
Connecting those dots, giving that context.
Right. Helping you get a sort of deeper appreciation for the material. We love digging into the layers, even on topics that seem simple at first glance.
Absolutely. And today, we've got something really different. Actually, it offers a fantastic chance for that kind of layered look. Our source isn't, your typical research paper or news piece.
No, it's an excerpt from an English learning podcast script, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. It's called Episode 16, Talk About Your Weekend, and it's from a show named Fluent Flow Podcast.
That's right. And what's immediately interesting is that this source, it has a really explicit practical aim. The script itself says it's designed to be slow and clear.
Beginner-friendly, too.
Yep, beginner-friendly, and really focused on correct pronunciation and sound of each word. I mean, that tells you a lot about its teaching approach from the get-go.
It's built for that word-by-word clarity, like a linguistic scaffold for people just starting out.
Exactly.
So our mission today for this deep dive, it's sort of two-pronged, and both parts, I think, offer some really cool insights. First, we're going to unpack the actual content of the script. It lays out this vision for a weekend that's positive, healthy, and productive. And there's actually a surprising amount of, practical wisdom just in that simple story.
Right.
But second, and this might be even more interesting for, our deep dive listeners, we're going to dissect how a script like this actually functions as a learning tool for English beginners.
Yeah, what are the techniques? What's it doing to teach the language effectively?
And what can that tell us about how people learn generally? Not just language, but, any subject.
And that's where I think the really profound stuff starts to surface. We'll be looking at the practical advice for having a good weekend. Something lots of us want, right?
Definitely.
And at the same time, we're looking at the clever teaching methods woven right into the script. So you'll get insights into maybe personal productivity, well-being, but also into language learning and even like effective communication and learning in general.
It's going to be a really interesting look at structure and intention. So yeah, settle in. Let's dive deep.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's unpack this script then, starting right at the beginning. The tone right away is pretty noticeable. It opens with, "Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Fluent Flow podcast." It's just so direct, isn't it? And friendly, welcoming. It feels like a personal invitation.
It absolutely does. And, it's fascinating how important that kind of personal greeting is, especially when you're learning something new. For a beginner tackling a new language, it can feel intimidating.
Oh, yeah. Definitely anxiety-inducing.
Right. So this direct, warm address, "Hello, my friend," it immediately creates this comfortable space, non-threatening. Psychologically, it lowers what Stephen Krashen called the affective filter.
Ah, right. The idea that feeling stressed blocks learning.
Exactly. When a learner feels relaxed, welcomed, not judged, or, overwhelmed, their brain is just more open, more receptive to new information. It creates psychological safety, which is, it's vital for learning a language effectively.
It builds trust instantly.
Yeah, it really does.
And it keeps going. The script then explicitly sets out its ground rules, almost like making a promise. We speak slowly. We use simple English. That feels like a huge signpost for the learner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Setting really clear expectations right from the start.
That transparency, it's definitely a powerful teaching tool. When learners know exactly what's coming at the pace, the level of language, it massively reduces their cognitive load.
Right, they're not wasting brain power trying to guess.
Exactly. They can focus all their attention on the actual language, the input, by saying point blank, we speak slowly, we use simple English, the podcast builds confidence, it tells the beginner, you can handle this, it's accessible.
Manages expectations. Less frustration.
Crucially, more sustained engagement. It's, a basic principle of good teaching. Meet the learner where they are. Provide that right amount of challenge scaffolding, they call it, to help them build skills.
Okay, so that foundation is set. Reassuring. Then the script jumps right into its main theme, a positive weekend. And it defines this positive weekend with 3 specific qualities. It was peaceful, it was productive, and it was fun.
That's quite a well-rounded goal for just 2 days, isn't it? Seems like it's aiming for more than just kicking back. It is, absolutely. And this is where we start seeing that practical wisdom mixing with the language lesson. Framing a weekend with those 3 things, peaceful, productive, fun, it gives this really holistic goal. It goes way beyond just, getting stuff done.
So peaceful implies calm, no stress, real rest.
Right. Activating that rest and digest part of the nervous system. Productive, well, it isn't just about work tasks. It's about feeling accomplished. Maybe finishing personal things, hobbies, working on goals. You get that little dopamine hit.
Makes sense.
And fun, well, that's pure enjoyment, leisure time. The genius is the balance. It intentionally pushes back against the idea of a weekend that's only for work or only for vegging out.
It encourages being mindful, intentional about your free time.
Exactly. Creating a restorative cycle, not just a break. This framework helps learners think about a balanced life, even while they're just learning the words to describe it.
Right. It's not just about surviving the weekend. It's about thriving.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the script takes us straight into a detailed Saturday morning routine. Starts with, I woke up early, followed by these really specific, simple actions. I open my window, I stretch my arms, and then this great little affirmation. It's a beautiful day. The level of detail, even for tiny actions, is quite striking.
And that specificity is incredibly powerful, both for your well-being and for learning the language. These simple, precise actions, they build the foundation for a proactive, intentional start to the day.
Like micro habits.
Exactly. Psychologically, waking up early, doing these small, deliberate things, opening a window for light, stretching to wake up the body, it creates this powerful sense of control. Positivity.
Yeah, I can see that.
Stretching gives you that proprioceptive input, signals to your brain your body's active. And the affirmation, it's a beautiful day, that's like cognitive priming, sets a positive emotional tone.
And for the language learner.
Well, these are super concrete, universal, everyday actions. The vocabulary is immediately relatable, easy to picture, reduces the effort needed to get the meaning.
And then, bang, we see the explicit language learning part kick in. Right after those phrases, it says, repeat with me, followed by prompts like, oh, I woke up early, on, I stretched. Oh, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it's not subtle.
No.
And it shouldn't be for a beginner. This direct repetition, it's a fundamental technique. Retrieval practice, output hypothesis, these are the fancy terms. It makes the learner go beyond just listening passively.
Gets them actively involved.
Which is crucial for locking in new words and structures. Repeating phrases builds like phonetic muscle memory, the physical coordination you need to make the sounds.
And the phrases are short, actionable.
Easy to digest, memorable. Reduces cognitive load, helps chunk the information. When learners actually produce the language, even just repeating, they're firing up those neural pathways. Strengthens the memory, this immediate guided output. Way more effective for long-term retention than just hearing it.
Okay, the morning routine keeps going. I drank water. Then I made a healthy breakfast. Eggs, toast, and fruit. And the script adds emphasis. I love breakfast. Breakfast is important. It's not just describing, it's valuing these actions.
And that's a perfect example of the script blending health advice with language learning. It highlights how important hydration and a good breakfast are physiologically.
Water first thing, then fuel?
Right. Water rehydrates you after sleep, and a balanced breakfast protein, carbs, vitamins gives you sustained energy, helps focus, helps regulate blood sugar, avoids that mid-morning crash.
So you're physically ready to learn.
Exactly. And pedagogically, the food choices are simple. Eggs, toast, fruit. Super accessible vocabulary. Leverages schema theory learners can easily picture these common items, connect them to what they already know.
And saying breakfast is important reinforces a healthy habit.
Yep, subtly connects the language lesson with a valuable life lesson. Nutrition impacts well-being, cognitive function, it's all linked.
Okay, let's shift into the mid-morning. This is where the script brings up something interesting. Working on my projects. And it quickly clarifies. Yes, even on the weekend, but just for a short time. That kind of challenges the idea that weekends have to be totally work-free, doesn't it?
It's a nuanced point, but yeah, it's really key for understanding a truly productive, balanced weekend. It's not saying be a workaholic or blur those lines unhealthily.
The key is just for a short time.
That's the critical part. This approach lets you stay focused, like the script says, and maybe proactively manage the week ahead so you don't feel swamped on Monday.
Get ahead of things a little.
Right. Maintain momentum, knock out small tasks, do some light planning that reduces future stress. It actually shows healthy boundary setting. You're controlling the tasks, not the other way around.
Could definitely reduce the Sunday scaries.
For sure. Chipping away at things that might otherwise feel big and looming, it fosters a proactive mindset.
And the tasks listed are so specific and relatable. I turned on my computer, I answered emails, I wrote notes, I organized my week. They're not massive projects.
Exactly. They're common, actionable tasks, things most people do in their work or personal life, so the vocabulary is immediately relevant for everyday use.
Learners can apply it right away.
Right. And mastering these phrases helps them talk about their own routines, their own productivity. And the repetition prompt, I plan my week, reinforces that practical language. It solidifies verbs and nouns for organization, time management.
And models executive function planning, organizing.
Yeah, and gives learners the language to describe it, enhances both language and life skills. Very practical.
Okay, after the light work, the script moves smoothly to taking care of my health. And it leads with this really simple but kind of profound action. I moved my body. That feels so accessible, doesn't it? Especially compared to how we usually talk about fitness, which can be intense.
And that's its power, precisely. Moving your body is wonderfully universal, inclusive. It deliberately avoids that demanding, specialized jargon of intense exercise.
Anyone can do it.
Right. It makes physical activity accessible, whatever your fitness level. It emphasizes the basic act of movement, walking, stretching, dancing, whatever. Lowers the barrier to entry for a healthy habit.
Focuses on consistency, maybe, rather than intensity.
Yeah, encouraging that neat non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which actually contributes a lot to overall well-being.
And the script then details the specific move my body activity. I put on my sneakers, I went for a walk, I listened to music, I felt the sunshine. It paints this really multi-sensory picture.
That multi-sensory description is brilliant, both for making the walk sound nice and for the language learning. Feeling the sun, hearing music, being outdoors, it turns a simple walk into something richer.
More immersive.
Exactly. From a well-being angle, engaging multiple senses deepens mindfulness, appreciation for the moment, reduces stress, boosts mood.
And for the learner.
That concrete imagery helps memory and understanding. You can vividly picture the scene, makes the new vocabulary stickier, easier to remember.
And the repetition prompts again. I walked, I listened to music, I felt good.
Reinforces those simple past tense verbs, common ways to express feeling good, makes them immediately usable. It really communicates that even a short walk can be powerful self-care, a real sensory experience.
So after the movement and the light work, it's lunchtime. What I eat on the weekend, specifically a big healthy lunch, suggests refueling properly.
Yes, and emphasizing big and healthy highlights the importance of a substantial, nutritious midday meal. You need that sustained energy for the afternoon.
Avoid the post-lunch slump.
Exactly. It's about fueling the body smartly, making choices that support focus and well-being for whatever comes next, whether it's quiet time or something more active. It implicitly teaches the value of thoughtful nutrition.
And the food listed is simple, healthy stuff. Salad, rice, grilled fish, and watermelon. Very clear, straightforward.
And these choices are pretty universal, with clear health benefits. Salad, rice, fish, watermelon, common, healthy ingredients. Makes the vocabulary practical, easy for learners to picture whatever their background.
Connects to their existing knowledge of food.
Right, that's schema theory again. And repeating the individual words, salad, rice, fish, watermelon is great for basic vocab acquisition, breaks it down into digestible units.
And the reinforcement. Eating well gives me energy. It helps me feel strong.
Directly connects nutrition to feeling good physically and mentally. Teaches the language and a crucial life lesson about how food impacts us. Fosters that embodied cognition understanding linked to physical experience.
Then, as the afternoon progresses, the script shifts into a calm afternoon. The focus changes dramatically to quiet things. This really brings in that balance we talked about, doesn't it?
It's a crucial pivot, absolutely. It highlights how vital quiet time is for real mental and emotional recovery. In our, constantly stimulated world, intentionally making space for quiet things allows for reflection, rest, a mental reset.
It's not just being lazy.
No, it's deliberate self-care. a conscious counterpoint to the morning's activity. It shows that true productivity involves being, not just doing. Recovering, letting the mind wander, consolidate, that's the brain's default mode network at work.
Essential for preventing burnout, staying clear-headed.
Exactly. That balance is key.
And the details of the relaxation are very relatable. I sat on the sofa, I drank tea, I read a book, and the book's topic, personal growth, that's interesting. It's not just passive entertainment.
That's a really key insight. Choosing a personal growth book during downtime shows a commitment to learning, self-improvement, even when relaxing.
So calm doesn't mean disengaged.
Right. It suggests that even in quiet moments, you can be purposefully feeding your mind, your spirit, aligns with a growth mindset.
And for the learner, again, simple activities, easy to describe.
Definitely. And the repetition prompts, I read a book, I drank tea, I relaxed, reinforce these common phrases for describing downtime, makes them easy to adopt. And the summary, peaceful, calm, focused, that perfectly sums up the goal of this intentional quiet time.
Reinforces the positive feelings associated with it.
And links those feelings directly to the English words.
Okay, so from that calm solitude, the script transitions really nicely into time with friends in the evening, meeting at a cozy cafe. This really speaks to the social connection piece, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It underscores that fundamental human need for social interaction. It's a huge contributor to mental well-being, happiness, even physical health.
Lower stress, live longer.
Studies show that, yeah. And a cozy cafe is such a relatable setting culturally. Makes the scenario familiar, inviting. It's about shared space, comfortable chat, exchanging positive energy.
From a brain perspective,
Positive social interaction can trigger oxytocin, the bonding hormone, enhances feelings of well-being, trust.
and the description of the interaction itself is so simple, but really captures the essence. We talked, we laughed, we smiled, we talked about life, we talked about work, and we shared good energy.
It does, and that's the beauty of it, especially for beginners. Using simple, powerful verbs, talked, laughed, smiled, effectively conveys that meaningful connection, those positive emotions. They're universal actions of friendship, joy.
And for learning, connecting words to positive feelings helps memory.
Definitely. Encoding new vocabulary in an emotionally resonant context, like hanging out in a cozy cafe, makes the memory stronger, easier to recall. Positive feelings enhance memory consolidation.
And the repetition prompts again. I met my friends, we talked, we laughed.
Crucial for reinforcing these common verbs and phrases, makes them easy for learners to internalize and use when talking about their own social life. It highlights the therapeutic benefit of social bonds. Showing joy often comes from sharing experiences. It teaches the value of friendship, not just the words for it.
Okay, shifting gears into Sunday. The script sets a different tone right away. On Sunday, I rested more. That signals a conscious change, doesn't it? Balancing Saturday's activity with more rest.
That shift is strategically really important for overall well-being. Sunday is often that transition day, winding down, preparing for the week. Resting more suggests a deliberate approach to recovery.
Crucial for preventing burnout, reducing stress about the week ahead.
Right. Setting yourself up for success with adequate rest, mental space, fosters calm readiness, not dread. It's effective self-management, helps prevent those Monday morning blues or Sunday scaries.
It's proactive self-care through strategic rest.
Precisely.
But rested more doesn't mean doing nothing. The script lists practical tasks.
Yeah.
Cleaned my house, washed clothes, made a weekly plan, wrote my goals.
Yeah.
This is all about preparation, getting organized.
Exactly. These are highly functional actions. They contribute hugely to a sense of control, organization, which is critical for reducing anxiety, enhancing mental clarity.
Getting chores done, planning the week, reduces stress later.
Frees up mental bandwidth for the days ahead. This proactive approach boosts productivity for the whole week, not just the weekend. It preemptively tackles things that could become overwhelming.
And for the learner, essential household and planning verbs.
Yep. And the prompts, I cleaned, I planned, I cooked, solidify that practical vocabulary. Empowers them to describe their own routines. It shows how small steps on Sunday set up a less stressful week, kind of like habit stacking for productivity.
And as part of Sunday, there's comfort food. Cooked dinner, warm soup, and fresh bread. Sounds like a lovely, cozy end of the weekend.
It really taps into the emotional side of nourishment and self-care. Comfort food often gives that sense of warmth, security, closure.
Physical sustenance and emotional satisfaction.
Right. Reinforces that a balanced weekend includes both activity and simple, comforting pleasure. Cooking a simple, warm meal signals winding down, prepares the mind and body for rest. It's subtle, but powerful self-nurturing.
And Sunday finishes with, then I watched a movie, a fun, happy movie. Really rounds things out gently.
And the choice of a fun, happy movie is pretty smart, I think. It's light entertainment. Good for unwinding without demanding too much mental energy or getting you too stimulated before bed.
A pleasant, low-key transition.
Exactly. Helps you go to bed relaxed and content, not anxious or wired. This kind of mindful entertainment choice contributes to a peaceful end to the weekend cycle, helping those positive effects carry over.
Okay, so we've walked through the whole weekend. Now we hit the reflections and gratitude section. It says, before I went to sleep, I said, thank you for this weekend. Such a simple, powerful act.
This is a really profound part of the script, actually. It integrates a core practice from positive psychology. Taking a moment for reflection and gratitude at the end of the day or week. Incredibly important for fostering a positive mindset.
Shifts focus from what's missing to what you have.
Exactly. Helps you reappraise experiences positively. It's proven to enhance well-being, maybe even impact neuroplasticity. And then the script sums up the outcome of this whole weekend. I felt peace. I felt joy. I felt strong.
Those are the payoffs.
Peace, joy, strength. The emotional and physical dividends of an intentional, well-lived weekend.
And again, the script makes the learner practice saying these feelings. Repeat with me. For I feel peace, I feel joy, I feel strong. Actively engaging with expressing emotion.
Yes. And this is where language learning really connects with emotional intelligence, self-awareness. Articulating these powerful feelings in simple English helps learners link the language directly to their inner states, their body sensations.
It's not just vocab, it's giving them tools to express deep feelings.
Right, and practicing it can actually reinforce those positive states. Makes the learning experience itself contribute to well-being. Builds essential vocabulary for self-expression, emotional regulation, turns abstract feelings into concrete, usable language.
Then the script turns directly to the learner. What about you? What do you do on the weekend? Followed by specific questions. Do you rest? Do you work? Do you meet your friends? And so on. Why is this technique so effective from a teaching standpoint?
Oh, this is classic active recall retrieval practice. Textbook effective learning. Posing direct questions makes learners immediately apply the vocabulary and structures they just heard to their own lives.
Moves them from passive listening to active production.
Exactly. Internal processing. Even if it's pre-recorded, this interactivity prompts them to think in English, pull information from memory, formulate their own answers, deepens comprehension, strengthens memory, personalizes the whole thing.
Makes them think about their own habits, too.
Right. Fosters that metacognition, comparing their routine to the script's narrative.
And then the final, really crucial advice. Think in English. Speak in English. Practice out loud. These sound like the absolute fundamentals for mastering a language.
They absolutely are. Crucial strategies for getting beyond just basic understanding. Think in English that pushes for internal immersion, training your brain to process directly in the target language, not constantly translating back and forth.
She's a huge barrier to fluency.
Massive. Speak in English emphasizes active production, getting past that inhibition many learners feel, and practice out loud, vital for pronunciation, fluency, that physical muscle memory of speaking.
Plus, you hear yourself. Auditory feedback.
Right. These three things together, they transform passive listening into active communicative practice. That's the only way to really internalize a language, make it your own, achieve that automaticity where words just flow.
The end of episode section then gives a neat recap. Today, we practiced daily vocabulary, speaking slowly, talking about your weekend in English. Reinforces the objectives clearly.
And that recap ties perfectly back to our analysis of the script's design. It confirms it delivered on its promises. That transparency is so valuable for learners, gives them a clear sense of accomplishment.
Builds competence, motivation.
Validates their effort, connects the podcast activities to real linguistic gains.
And finally, those specific actionable prompts. Repeat this episode again. Speak out loud. Learn with joy.
Excellent practical study tips. Repeat this episode again. Encourages spaced repetition, scientifically proven for long-term memory. Speak out loud. Reinforces active production, pronunciation.
And learn with joy.
Emphasizes keeping that positive attitude, intrinsic motivation. It's this whole package, clear content, structured practice, positive emotional reinforcement that makes the script such an effective tool. It empowers the learner, reminds them that positive feelings actually boost learning.
Well, we've really reached the end of this deep dive, and what an interesting journey, actually. We started with what looked like just a simple English learning script, but it offered so much more. a really insightful blueprint almost for a balanced, productive, peaceful weekend.
It really did. By, carefully taking it apart, we've gained insights into both effective daily routines for feeling good and the smart teaching approaches used in language learning, prioritizing clarity, repetition, active engagement.
It shows how structured content delivered with real intention and sort of empathy can be powerful, not just for learning words, but for integrating new ideas about self-care, productivity.
Yeah, integrating them into our lives.
So as you, our listener, reflect on this deep dive, maybe consider this, we saw how structure and intention can make a weekend more fulfilling and make learning more effective. So where in your own life might a little more intentional planning maybe for your daily routine, your learning goals, even how you connect with people, where might that unlock, unforeseen levels of peace and progress?
That's a great question. It applies way beyond just weekends or learning English, doesn't it? The principles, intentionality, structured practice, mindful engagement, they're universal for growth, for mastery in pretty much any area.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. It's always a real pleasure exploring these fascinating topics with you.
And we absolutely hope you'll subscribe to the deep dive for more explorations into all sorts of interesting material. Every topic is a new chance for discovery, for expanding how you see the world.
Absolutely. Follow this show wherever you get your podcasts, and please do leave a comment. Your thoughts, your questions, we love hearing from you, seeing what clicks with your own insights.
Yeah, your engagement really fuels our own journey, too. Keep asking questions, keep exploring.
Until next time, keep diving deep.